I've always never agreed with people that say that passion doesn't put food on the table, because I genuinely believe that if you find something that you're passionate about, you can actually make money from it and live a happy and fulfilling life doing what you actually want to do. So I've never stood with people that start side hustles that are just draining, or businesses for the sake of it because they want to make money. I mean, this then explains my jumping from one business idea to the next, because I was trying to find something that I was actually passionate about. I started off with a jewelry business, which I soon realized I did not care about jewelry. The fact that I don't wear jewelry should have been obvious enough. But as soon as I realized that that's not what I wanted to do, I started looking for what I should do in order to actually start, finding my purpose, finding my passion, so that I can work towards it and I can actually start a business that revolves around that. Now, this is something that you also want to do. You want to turn yourself into a business. You want to turn your interests, whatever you're passionate about, into a business, because you believe in actually doing something or making money from things that make you happy. Then make sure that you stick around. In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you exactly how you can do that in 5 easy steps that I've taken myself. So I'll be sharing my own experience as well, because like I said, I believe that money should not be something that you struggle for and force yourself to do things that you don't like in order to actually attain. I believe that there's a way that you can actually make money while enjoying what you are doing. So let's jump straight into it. The first step that I want you to take in order to turn yourself into a business is to actually get to know yourself. You will not be able to start a business that you're passionate about when you don't know yourself enough. And the reason why I've actually made this a very big point is because usually what happens is we ignore our interests, we ignore our skills or things that come easy to us for so long that it becomes really hard to identify these things when we're actually looking for it, when we're trying to find our passion, when we're trying to find out what our purpose is. So this is why it's important that you actually take time to learn more about yourself. I want you to make a list of things that come easy to you. You need to create a list on your interests, on your skills, things that you've learned on your own that you get excited about when you just think about it. I mean, for me, when I decided that I wanted to start my own business, obviously I started off with the jewelry business because I didn't know what I wanted to do. But as time went on and I was educating people and I was recording videos and so on, and I got to a point where I was now talking to people on camera, I think that's when I started realizing, and I kind of went back to what I was doing in the beginning. I was always a debater, a public speaker in high school, and I genuinely enjoyed that. I talk a lot, okay? So I've always said that I want to make money from what I do best, and that's talking. I talk, and I love that God has given me that as a gift that I can actually use, that I can use my voice to impact people's lives and to actually make a difference in someone's life. And I want to make use of that to the highest capacity, because obviously at some point I want to be a speaker. I want to be getting paid to speak and to teach people and to share my experience and so on. But we have to start somewhere, and YouTube and social media was my starting point. So all I'm trying to show you is that you need to start picking out certain things that are not hard for you. Like, these things are not things that you have to think over and over and over on. You don't have to ponder on it, because talking was always easy for me. I didn't have a problem with, picking up a camera and just talking in the camera. I did not have a problem with structuring whatever it is that I was talking about, because right now, if you have not realized, all my videos just have bullet points. So everything that I'm saying, I think about it as I'm saying it. And I think it's an amazing gift when you think about it. That's why sometimes you see me look at the side or something when I'm trying, because I'll be thinking and speaking at the same time. But it's a gift that I soon realized that not everyone actually has. Some people actually need to have a script in order to record videos. I don't need that. I just need bullet points or just a structure of like, what do I need to talk about so I can stay around that. But all I'm saying is make a list of things that come easy to you. Do you speak well? Do you do really well with people? I think I have never had any problems when it comes to speaking to people, as much as I always have a problem when it comes to the icebreaker, like getting started. But afterwards, I get comfortable and I'm okay. And so those are things that I make use of when I'm talking to my clients. I'm able to pick up whether or not this person and I can actually work well together and it would actually work out. I am able to speak well with people, and I've never had a problem with that. So I made use of it. I started a coaching business. Well, technically it's not a coaching business anymore, but I started my own business where I get to talk to people and I get to help them start their own businesses, which then goes back to something that I was already passionate about, which was empowering women. And I get to do that right now by helping them start their own businesses and helping them start businesses that are going to be profitable and that are going to help them attain financial independence and financial freedom at some point. So these are things that I figured out as I was going. So what I'm trying to tell you is that no, when you're starting out, even if you make this list, you're not going to have it all figured out. Just start out with something. I started off with a jewelry business. That was my starting point. Obviously, as you can see, it was not the best starting point, but it was a starting point, and at some point it will all make sense as you get further and further in your journey. But you need to get started in your journey. Number 2, you need to choose a media stream. Now, when I started my journey of starting my business and becoming this person, I started off on Instagram because, like I said, I don't have a problem with video. I love talking on camera. I love connecting with people. So I knew that I was going to go through video because that was the easiest for me. I started off with video. I went on to Instagram and I started creating Instagram reels, and I was creating Instagram carousels. They were not the best quality at that time. Okay, let's not talk about that. But all I'm saying is that was my starting point. That's how I got started. And then when I realized that Instagram was not doing it as much for me because I wanted to have a lot of focus on video itself rather than like trying to be everywhere. I didn't want to have to like create pictures and carousels and so on, and I didn't understand Instagram as much. I am not an Instagram baddie, so I was like I'm not the biggest fan of Instagram because like I don't have the fancy life and the fancy places that I'm going to and the dressing up and all that stuff. I'm not that type of person. I might be at some point, but not yet. So when I realized that, I was like, okay, let me just go to TikTok and talk to people, because I'd done that before. I had a previous account, a personal account, where I was just ranting. Honestly, I'll just pick up a camera. I love saying camera, and pick up my phone and just start recording a video and talk to people and so on, and it wasn't a problem for me. So when now it was on TikTok and I was talking about business and I was talking about what I was doing, I tried out so many different things, and honestly, I'm glad that I actually got started. Now, this is not the only way that you can actually, build an audience and be known by people for a certain thing, because the whole aim of this is for you to actually at some point start a business. But for you to start a business, you need to be known for something. You need to at least have people who can identify you for a specific thing. I'm known for business. When it comes to people starting businesses, people marketing their businesses, that's what I am known for. But what I'm trying to tell you is that you need to have something that you're going to be sharing with people that is going to be interesting to them as well. And that way you can actually be known for that thing, and you can turn that thing, that interest that you're sharing with people, that skill that you're sharing with people, you can then turn that into a business. Like I said, video is not the only form of content that you could be creating. The next form of content is written. When it comes to written, I'm talking about blogs, I'm talking about Twitter, email, newsletters, anything that has to do with you actually writing down. As much as like all the content that you create is going to be written, because you first have to like script out your videos and all that stuff, and you need to also have writing on your Instagram carousels or whatever it is that you're doing. But specifically for written, I'm talking about blogs, newsletters, and email newsletters, and Twitter. So you get to choose what you actually want to do. Some people started off as bloggers, and then they at some point actually switched things around, added more things and so on. At some point I do want to start blogging, but not now. Okay, I want to give myself time to ease myself into it, but that is something that I plan on doing at some point. The third form of content that you can actually create is audio. So this means podcasts. So if you know that you don't want to be seen, you don't mind people hearing you though, then you can actually create a podcast. I've been actually thinking of creating a podcast, but hey, podcast, I still have a problem with getting over how I sound, because I always had a problem with listening to myself talk. Nowadays, it's not that much of a problem. I mean, I've been creating content for like 2 years now. I think I've gotten used to it. Like, you get used to it. All the things that you thought were cringe at some point, you get used to it, okay? So now it's not so much of a bad thing. So that's why I'm like, maybe I could, create a podcast. At this point, I want to create everything, but I feel like everything has to be done gradually. Now, from all the things that I've told you right now, when it comes to choosing a stream, a media stream rather, please start off with one. If you're starting off with video, maybe start off on TikTok. TikTok has a low barrier to entry. YouTube has many benefits, but it's very daunting. Let me say that, because although now my mindset on YouTube has changed a lot because I've been growing, I've been creating videos. I think I'm starting to figure out a few things, so I don't feel like YouTube is as hard as it was for me before. Something that I do want you to take into consideration is the fact that YouTube is not as easy to go into because there are quite a lot of things that you need to take into consideration. You need to also be creating YouTube thumbnails, and you need to be creating all these different things. You need to be using SEO and so on. So there are many things that you have to take into consideration when it's on YouTube compared to if it's just TikTok. Because with TikTok, you just create and you post. Like, it's very simple. So if you want to go to video, that's okay. The third step is to start creating content. Now, your biggest question might be, okay, so how do I actually find content ideas? How do I know what to create content on? Now, what you're going to do is to use keyword researchers. Now, you're looking for people who are like you, who have the same interests as you. Your target audience is you. Just someone who is 1 or 2 steps behind you in whatever process they are trying to achieve, depending on whatever it is that your interests or your skills are. What you're doing right now is you're sharing your interests or skills to people who have the same interests or skills. But the thing is, you're looking at it as almost sharing information or tips for a younger version of yourself, or a version of yourself that hadn't gotten to the position that you are in right now. Now, this applies to literally anything. For me, who was always the business person and so on, for me, what I'd actually be able to do if I were to start all over again and I was using the structure that I'm telling you right now, is I'd be creating content on how to start a business, on what you need to know before you start a business, things like that I would have needed, and I did need, but I just didn't have any information on. So you're sharing things that you needed at some point, but you didn't really have anyone who can actually share that information with you. So you are doing your younger or past self a favor by sharing this information. Now, the way that you're going to go about it is you're actually going to search keywords. So for example, with me, who knows that I am a business person, I'm going to go and search online business. I'm going to search small business so I can see what other people are searching for. People will be searching for how to start a business. People will be searching for what business ideas are there in 2024 and so on. And those are things that I can actually create content on. So based on the keywords that I then find, I can then go and create a video on how to start a business in 10 steps, how to know what business to actually start, and so on. That's how I used to find my content ideas before I'd built an audience. When you build an audience, you then have people that are asking you questions, and you can just answer those questions and keep going. The second way that you can actually find what content to actually create is you need to go to your competitors, people who are doing what you want to do, people who are in the position that you want to be in at some point. Those are the people that you're actually going to be checking out their account. See what content they're creating. Go through their comments also. See what people are commenting, what people are actually asking, and so on. That's how you're going to figure out what content you can actually create, because they have the audience that you want to have at some point. So you need to then know what your audience actually wants, because at that point you don't have any analytics that you can look at, you don't have any audience that you can ask about this and so on. So that's the way that you actually go about it. The third thing that you need to do when it comes to then creating content is to create a content calendar based on the content ideas you find. You create a content calendar, you put in the content ideas, you script your videos. The most basic script that you need to have is to have a hook. This is how you're going to get people's attention. This is how you're going to get people to stop scrolling. This is how you're going to get people to listen to your podcast for the next, I don't know how long. This could be also your heading for if you have a blog. You need to have a hook. Then you have your subtopics. So a lot of the times I have 3 to 5 subtopics for my videos, because a lot of they're usually not that long, but 3 to 5 subtopics that you can have depending on what type of videos you're creating. If you're on YouTube, I usually have 5 subtopics, sometimes 3 if the video is going to be slightly shorter, or even then it can still be long. But for TikTok, I usually have like 3 subtopics, and that's it. Then the last thing that you need to have is a call to action. A call to action is what you want people to do. Do you want people to subscribe to your channel? Tell them to do that. By the way, please make sure that you subscribe to my channel, because I know I'm giving a lot of, I'm dropping some gems. Come on, make sure that you subscribe to my channel. I'd almost forgotten. And make sure to like this video if you've gotten this far, okay? Because I'm pretty sure it's been a lot. It's a lot of information that you're consuming right now. But anywho, you tell people if you want them to follow you on your TikTok. By the way, I'm on TikTok. And you tell people how to contact you and so on. You tell people what you want them to actually do. That's up to you. Then the last thing that you do when it comes to creating content is you schedule out your content. If you're like me, who is a procrastinator, please, make sure that you record your videos, you edit them, and then you put them into a scheduling app like Metrical. I just recently started Metrical. I feel like it's simple, it's straightforward. I use Metrical for TikToks, like specifically, and then Instagram you can now schedule on the app. TikTok you can schedule on the app itself, so there's no problem there. So make sure that you actually do that, and you won't be having any problems. And then in terms of like your blog posts and so on, you can, there are a lot of videos on like scheduling apps and so on. You can go and search for some. I'm pretty sure you'd be able to actually find how to schedule out your content, also including podcasts and so on. So make sure that you actually make use of that so that you can be consistent. And a bonus tip that I want to give you when you're starting out, please make sure that you record 4 videos, or you write 4 blog posts, or you write or record 4 podcasts before you actually start posting, because you want to be able to stay consistent. And being a month ahead, or being 4 videos ahead, will always be very helpful to you, for in case something happens and you can't record a video. Step 4 is to get feedback. I would suggest, based on what I did and what worked for me, is to actually get on calls with your audience. What I'm talking about now is you now trying to figure out what business you can actually start, because your business is going to be based on the audience that you have, based on the content that you are creating. So with the audience that you would have built, whether you've gotten to 1,000 followers, you've gotten to 1,000 subscribers, you've gotten to a certain level, whatever level that is for you, that you feel like you're now comfortable with selling something to people, please don't go for too long without selling something, without building up something that you can actually sell. Because I did that. I went for a whole year because of imposter syndrome. I felt like I was not ready enough to actually get started and whatnot. And that's just you procrastinating. That's just you feeding into the self-doubt and the imposter syndrome. It's not going to help you with anything. Just get started. You figure it out as you go. That's okay. But anyway, so what you're going to do is you're going to get on calls with your audience. Whether you're going to get on calls or you're going to start DMing your audience, so they can ask them questions on what they actually need help with, what they're struggling with, what it is that made them follow you, what they would actually benefit from if you actually created it. Do they need an ebook that explains a certain thing? Do they need maybe a course on a specific topic? Ask them those questions so you can actually get feedback from them, so that you know what you can create and sell to them. They are your customers. They are the ones that are going to actually be buying whatever it is that you're going to be selling to them. Step 5 is to choose a stream of income. How are you actually going to be making money in your business? You need to figure this out. No, the things I'm going to be sharing with you right now, you don't have to choose just one from them. You can decide if you want to do all these things that I'm going to be mentioning, but please make sure that you do it, gradually. You don't just start out with all these things, because it's going to be overwhelming for you to be able to manage. First thing that you can actually sell is digital products. When I'm talking about digital products, I'm talking about ebooks that you can actually sell, workbooks, guides, and so on. It's obviously going to be based on whatever it is that you're teaching people. Are you teaching people how to speak better? It's actually something I can actually create, because I've never had a problem with speaking on camera. So that's something I can actually talk about, how exactly people can actually do that, because I've seen a lot of people asking me about how to be confident on camera and so on. You can actually decide what you want to create, an ebook on, guides and so on, workbooks that you can actually create. Those are things that you can sell on your website. Please make sure that you get a website so it's easy for people to actually buy from you. Do not use specific apps or rather social media platforms to sell your things. So in other words, do not have a shop on Instagram and depend on it when it comes to actually selling things, because if your Instagram gets shut down, that shop is getting shut down as well. So you make sure that you have your own website. There are many free website builders. If you actually want a video on that, let me know in the comments. If you want a video on website builders that you can use that are free, that you can actually use to start making money in your business. But that's something that you need to, make use of. Second idea that I have for you is a membership club. Now, the reason why I'm talking about a membership club is because, like I said, your target audience is yourself. It's people who are just 2 steps behind you, 1 step behind you, and they want to be where you are right now. Yes, it might feel like you are not where you want to be, but trust me, there's a skill that you have, there's an interest that you have developed. The third idea that I have for you is masterclasses or workshops. So these are ways that you can actually be teaching people or educating people on whatever skills or interests you have that you have shared with them. But obviously it has to be something very interesting because people are going to be paying for this. In terms of like the price range, something I did see is that a lot of the masterclasses and so on are usually cheap unless they're like, live, like face to face. But if it's online, a lot of times it's cheap. It's not that expensive, but it's up to you how you're going to be pricing them and so on. Idea 4 is a coaching program. You can either have this as one-on-one with your client or as a group coaching program. That's going to be up to you. So it could be for 3 months, it could be for 6 months. I would suggest that you stick around there, because as soon as it gets above 6 months, that's a little too much now. Okay, so just stick to 3 to 6 months. That's a good sweet spot to be in. Okay, so I forgot what number idea we are on, but the next idea is an online course. If you know that whatever it is that you've been sharing with people is something that you can actually turn into an online course to teach people. I've literally seen online courses on the most random things out there, whether it is gardening or it is how to crochet, how to braid someone's hair, there's so many different courses. And at this point, it just depends on whoever it is that you've been targeting, who your audience was, what interests you were sharing with them, what skills you have that then match up with whatever it is that the online course would actually be on. But that's up to you. The last idea that I have for you on how to actually make money is to become a freelancer. You can actually start a freelance business by offering whatever skill you have as a service. So for example, if you maybe I can't think of anything, so I'm going to talk about what I already do. If maybe you have some skills on marketing, you can then become a freelance social media marketer. So you'd be, let's just say, social media manager instead, and you'd actually be managing people's social media platforms without them necessarily employing you as such. It's more like going to be on contract for a certain amount of time, and you'd be managing people's social media accounts and actually, showing them the results that you're able to get for them and so on. So that's an example of what you could do. Now look, the steps that I've shared with you so far, something you need to understand is this for me took a lot of trial and error for me to finally get to the point where I actually knew what I was doing and I was able to then compile this as steps that I took. So I can say this without any doubt that I use this, and that's exactly how I've been able to make money in my own business. So please make sure that you don't think any further. Do not come up with different reasons why you can't do it and so on. Just get started. Stop making excuses for yourself. Stop coming up with the weirdest reasons why you actually can't start this business. It literally starts out as simple as you creating content online. That's all that you need to do, and it'll always be dependent on how you choose to create content. You don't have to show your face if you don't want to. You don't have to necessarily show your life if you don't want to, if you're a private person. It's up to you how you actually decide to show up. But what I don't want you to do is to watch this video, get out of here with a lot of information, and then it's all gone because you're not making use of it. If you're not going to do anything about the situation that you are in right now, you will remain in the situation forever. You're always going to think what if, because you haven't actually started. I need you to start something. I keep saying this to so many people. Just start something. Me starting that jewelry business was the reason why I got to where I am right now, and I started this business that I genuinely love, and many other businesses. But that's the reason why I actually got to where I am. So what I'm trying to tell you is that just start. You will figure it out as time goes on, but I don't want you to come up with excuses. The business that I'm telling you about right now does not require you to have any money to actually get started. So I don't want you to be making excuses. You don't need any experience for it. You don't need to get a job in order to do what I'm telling you to do. So please, just get started. And the fact that you have enough data to be watching this video that you're watching right now, that means that you can actually create and post your own video. So start making use of it. I am so tired of all these excuses. I hear so many excuses, and I create videos like this on different business ideas and different things that you can actually do. And so I get so many views on it. But when it comes to the execution of it, it's so saddening that a lot of people actually do not execute on these things that I teach them. It's useless for me to teach you something and you don't make use of it. Please start. It will not kill you to start something. If it fails, it fails. Sure, you did not, put in any money. You're not losing anything other than your time. You're not losing anything by doing this, because when you do this, you also develop certain skills that you would not have developed if you had just shut it down before you even tried it. So I'm telling you now, I expect you to start that business. And right now, let me know in the comments. I want you to comment, I start now, because I want you to be able to hold yourself accountable. I want you in 6 months time to know that you actually got started, to come back to this video and be like, yes, I actually ended up getting started with my business, because I'm tired of these excuses that you're making up for yourself. They're not getting you anywhere. Now, if you want to know exactly how to actually get started with an online business, for example, if you're starting a product-based business, then please make sure that you actually go and check out my video on how to start an online business. Yeah, not original, I know, but how to start an online business. I will see you on that video, and I expect results.